This semester, we talked about many different photographers who use photography as a way to advocate and bring awareness to different issues that they felt were important. My project doesn't exactly encompass that advocacy piece, but it was inspired by documentary photography. In particular, I was enamored by the works of Jacob Rhee, Louis Hine, and Dorothea Lange. On screen, I have images from each photographer. Perhaps Lange's most recognizable photograph is of the migrant mother, taken during the Great Depression to show how severe and extremely impoverished Americans were. Hine's work focused on child labor in the U.S. He photographed children working in conditions that were detrimental to their health, and ultimately his work was vital in laws being made to abolish those abhorrent conditions. Rhee's work were of conditions in New York City that were due to extreme poverty. Many of his photographs depicted people living on the streets. Each photographer and many other documentary photographers' works depict and capture people when they're most vulnerable. It was and still is a way to pull in viewers and strike an empathetic chord in their heart. I hope that through each interview clip, you can see how each participant is very thoughtful with their answers, and even though they don't fully emote according to the question, I believe they were vulnerable and honest with sharing their answers with me. Before I share with you some clips from the interviews, let me go over how I went about interviewing my participants. I came up with a list of 15 different questions. They ranged from, what do you like to do to make yourself feel better after a bad day, to where do you see yourself in 5 years? These questions were meant to evoke emotions. That's the psychological piece of it. For example, one question asked them to describe their best friend to me, and many were smiling and giddy when talking about their best friend. I did not explain to them what this project was for, except that it was for my photography class, because I wanted their reactions to be honest and natural. After we finished interviewing, I explained to them what it was for, and that it was to gauge emotional reactions. Later on in this video, I will talk about the sociological aspects of this project. What are you most afraid of? Whatever you're comfortable with.
Really afraid of is supernatural stuff. Like not aliens, but just spiritual stuff, because then at work they'll try to tell me stories and I get really afraid. Even when I'm alone, I'll start thinking about it. I have to look behind me, if I
At work or at home?
just anywhere. If I'm alone in the dark, I'll start thinking about it. I overthink it, and then that's a fear. And then there's always fear of losing people too, But my main thing right now is about ghosts and stuff.
Yeah.
Failure just in life in general, not being as successful as I want to be, or not achieving the goals that I've set for myself, especially if I see it as my own fault. My own failure being my own fault is probably my biggest fear.
I guess just letting everybody down, because I feel like everybody expects a lot out of me, because I know my parents do. I know they wanted me to go to school and stuff, but because that's what they brought me here for, from back from Mexico. They really expected a lot out of me.
Yeah.
And I feel like I let them down.
Oh goodness, I have top 3. My worst fear is I'm claustrophobic, so that kind of ties into okay, I have a weird fear of being buried alive, which is not a very common thing, obviously, but I'm claustrophobic, so that kind of those go together.
Right.
I don't like snakes, but in terms of more serious fears, more realistic, logical, rational ones, I have this fear of not being able to succeed, kind of being mediocre throughout life, and that's obviously not what I'd like to do. So.
Yeah. So failure, basically?
Yeah, failure. Yeah, that's a good way to put that.
Yeah.
My worst fears, I would say my worst fears would be isolation.
Okay, do you want to elaborate?
I don't know.
Isolation as in being separated from your friends, being left out, isolation, being lonely.
Actually, one of my worst fears would be being forgotten, being left out, being excluded out of something, because that's one of the worst feelings, being left out and being forgotten about and not being acknowledged as if you're not a person.
Okay.
My worst fears, probably the biggest one is failure. I know that's kind of general, but in any way just not succeeding in the way that I want to, or not feeling like I'm able to accomplish something. I think I'm also really scared of changing myself for someone or something and not staying true to who I know I am, if that makes sense.
No, it does.
And not being honest with myself. I think that's something that really scares me a lot.
Describe to me your best friend.
She is very, very independent, and she is very, very smart. She doesn't really kind of take other people's, she doesn't take other people's opinions into account. She just kind of, she'll believe what she wants to believe after, like, researching it and everything, and she doesn't just, whether it be her parents or someone that she works with or someone at school, she feels very comfortable in her own skin and disagreeing with them. She has very solid opinions and viewpoints, and she's very much like that. She's introverted like me, and she's absolutely fantastic at art and discovering new music, and so she's very in tuned artistically.
He's bad at things, and just kind of in general, but like really good at certain things, like just like cooking. Can't just in weird ways he's bad at stuff, but he's very good at a lot of other things, and he's very good at like, political science and things like that. But and he's always there to make an inappropriate joke at the bad time, which I appreciate because I'm also there for that. And
well, she's a little shorter than me. I've known her for a couple of years now. She's actually my girlfriend. She helps me out way too much. She's really nice. She gets along with my family so well. I'd like to think I get along with her family. I don't know, she's just really fun to be around with and always makes me feel good. I don't know, like, we have a lot of differences, but, I don't know, she always, like, tries to get involved in what I like, and I try to get involved in what she likes, and it's just a lot of fun. So, I love her.
That's good.
My best friend, she's wickedly intelligent. That's the first thing that'll come to mind. Someone that shares a lot of my interests, but also has several different interests from me. And she likes telling me, like, she's very into biology and that type of stuff. And I always like talking with her. That's someone I can always talk with, like, about just, nerdy, sciencey things, history stuff that I like, that we each know a lot about the same things. But also just, we have a lot in common. Otherwise, a lot of shared experiences.
They're all really funny. I'm not able to really be with someone unless they can make me laugh. They're very open-minded. They push me in ways that I may not be able to push myself, whether that's like academically or speaking out for something that I believe in. They're very inclusive. They help me to take risks, which is something that I've struggled with in the past, is feeling comfortable enough doing something that's not, I don't know, like me to do necessarily. I don't know, they're very educated people, and they help to educate me on concepts that they're more familiar with than me, and I feel, I don't know, I think when I'm around them I am able to see things from a different perspective than I would by myself.
Question 5, describe to me your best friend. So I have no idea who your best friend is. I don't think I'll ever meet them. I want to know who they are as a person though, so describe them to me.
Well, they're very interesting person. They're slightly immature, but at the same time, he's pretty smart. He's about a year older than me. He really loves fishing. He really loves the outdoors. And he's very good with people, but at the same time, he is not the smartest person ever. However, I love him. Been my best friend since I was 2. And,
What is something you wish people knew or understood about you?
A lot of people will tell me that, so I get out from a lot of people that I look young, right? But then they'll be like, oh, but you don't really act your age, you know? Like, so basically they mean that I'm more mature than my age. And I just wish they knew, like, a lot of my background, too, because, like, I went through a lot of stuff to get to where I am now. Like, not too bad of stuff. Like, I'm grateful for everything that I have. Because, like, I have a roof over my head and, like, a family and, like, food, you know? But I just, like, my family went through a lot of stuff. So I've been taking care of them, you know? Like, that's how I grew up. Like, and then not a lot of people know that. Like, now a lot of people view kids my age as just, like, you know, we like to party, we like to drink, or, like, do all this bad stuff. But, like, I find that I have a good mindset and that I'm a good person. So I just hope that people don't judge before they see, you know? And, like, and I don't like to tell everyone my backstory either, but I just hope, like, they just don't assume that just because of everyone.
I think something that really bothers me that I think people don't see is, I know a lot of times people see me as a very like positive, really, really happy person, and a lot of the times people will ask me, they're like, how are you so happy all the time? And it's frustrating because I'm not. I mean, no one's happy all the time, and I think a lot of times too, if people see you as like a really happy, positive person, they tend to not take you seriously, and that's something that I've struggled with, is being able to be taken seriously. And I myself know that I'm smart, I have good ideas, but I think sometimes people think just because that I'm a very, you know, positive person and I like to have a good outlook and I like to joke around sometimes, they think that's a reason that I cannot be taken seriously, and I sometimes worry that that'll affect me, like, with my career.
I'm not as mean as I first appear to be. I've been told I give people a look, like I don't know, I can't swear, but like F off, like that's my look, and I don't mean to do that. It's just like, I don't know. Like I said, when you grow up like really poor in like the South California, you like a lot of gangs, a lot of violence. So I'm just not like super openly friendly, but once you get to know me, I guess I'm a really nice guy. So I'd like to think. So.
Okay.
I have a silly personality that I
I think your facial expression proves that you have a silly personality. We can move on.
I want people to understand that I have a silly personality and that I can take situations seriously when push comes to shove, and some people kind of misjudge my maturity level just because they see me as silly or as immature.
I can see the situation where someone doesn't take you seriously. They think you're joking,
Right.
but you're not, and you're being true, and you're trying to get the point across that you're not, but they don't take you seriously. I
Right.
see. Okay. Some reflections I have on this project. I'm incredibly grateful for each participant's willingness to take time out of their day to help me with this project. It was interesting to see how different people's answers varied. I didn't include all the clips I filmed because if I had, this video would have been extremely long. I did notice that there was a trend in the answers my participants gave me. For example, a couple of my participants were from a lower income background and had described themselves as hardworking, and that in 5 years they saw themselves owning a house, settling down, and having children. Whereas the participants who were higher income described themselves with more descriptive words such as diligent and tenacious, and talked about attending law school, grad school, med school, whatever it was. So that was the difference I saw between socioeconomic classes. I also noticed that my female participants, when asked about biggest insecurities, talked about their physical insecurities, whereas male participants mentioned things like failure and other things that come from inner turmoil. So I'm assuming this is because of the gender difference, but because my population pool is so small, nothing is absolute. These are just things I noticed, and I think they fit well into the sociological idea that based on your experiences, your perspectives and opinions will be different. As for the psychology piece of my project, I had to go through several different drafts because I wanted to capture emotion, but I didn't want to be taking constant pictures when my participants gave their answers. I wanted them to be comfortable and for their answers to be natural. Recording them worked well, but it may have taken concentration in order to recognize how my participants emoted. I picked questions that would have made me feel a certain way and hoped that those feelings would physically manifest themselves in each person's answer. It is definitely ambiguous though, so interpret their facial features how you would like. That pretty much covers my project. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to state them. I look forward to seeing your projects as well. Thank you for watching!